introduce yourself and your company. Tell us a bit about what you do.
Hi, my name is Ed Lando, and I'm the CEO and founder of GoHow. And at GoHow.com, we help people change careers, not just their jobs.
Oh, great. So tell us a bit about how you got your start in business and kind of the origins of GoHow, like how did that come about?
So for the last 21 years, I've been a headhunter. Executive search all across the country, focusing on really anybody from C-level positions to account executives for big software companies to software developers. And through the course of my work, what I realized was most people just simply didn't like what they were doing. I would get involved in interviews, talking to highly successful people, and I could tell something just wasn't right in their voice fluctuation, just kind of how they were describing what they did. And I would ask them if you could do anything, forget your responsibilities for your bills or your family, whatever it is. If you could do anything, what would you do? And the two common responses I got were, I don't know, but it's not what I'm doing, or X, and X was not what they were doing. So I started to do some research around it, and the research is pretty clear. There's many studies in good economies and in bad. The numbers really don't change, and the numbers are 55% of the U.S. workforce does not like what they're currently doing. Not who they're doing it for, they simply do not like their current career. So we founded GoHow under the premise to help people change their careers, not just their jobs.
Nice. So this is actually a pretty new venture. I mean, how long has it been since you actually launched?
So I'll quickly run you through it. So in 2003, the idea really came to me to start doing something around this. By 2007, right, you kind of let that simmer and incubate for a while in your mind and in your practice and in your research. But in 2007, we went after it very hard. I went out and recruited a world-renowned organizational psychologist who specializes in career transition and leadership training, a gentleman named Dr. David Campbell. He's the author of the Campbell Interest and Skills Survey, the Strong Campbell Interest Inventory. He is a senior fellow at the Center for Creative Leadership, which is the largest leadership training organization in the world. And we recruited him in to help us build the company. So he's an active board member, he's an investor. Dr. David Campbell, we use his assessment, the Campbell Interest and Skills Survey. So people come into our site, pay a membership fee to join. And for that membership fee, they get to discover what they're most interested and best skilled at doing via taking his scientifically validated assessment. They select careers that they want to go after based on the results. We have some tools that help them make that selection because, again, the survey that you take, the assessment you take, may list 10 to 15 different careers that you're interested in and skilled in. And then you got to pick which one, two, or three you want to go after. We have tools that help you do that. And then we give you a project plan of how to gain access into that career. Some very high-level milestones which one must achieve to have the experience and the knowledge to do the career. And then a task manager we supply you with that helps you also refine down the other things that you need to do, volunteer work, where you're going to do it, people you'll meet, specific individuals, books you should read, those kind of things. As you track through it, then you have the knowledge and experience when you complete your project plan to gain access. And then we give you all the headhunting tools to actually get into that career, how to network, how to use the social networks, how to prepare for interviews, how to act and gain information during interviews that can help you make that decision, just kind of help you win the job interview.
Right. And his survey is actually kind of an industry standard, isn't it?
It's a widely used industry tool. I mean, if you're in the human resource industry or you're one's knowledgeable in that area, they've certainly heard of these surveys. They're some of the most widely used surveys in the world. His are.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having an idea or having a plan and the experience doesn't always mean it's the right time to launch a business. What made now good time for GoHow?
Well, so again, we started a couple years ago, so the economy was actually doing a little bit better before we started our fundraising efforts. We probably started our fundraising efforts in what one would perceive as the worst time to go out and raise funds, which was early '09. Actually not even early, mid-'09. So in June of '09 is when we first started raising funds for our venture. Up till then, it was me going out. I had used my money to fund the project. We had recruited two billion-dollar companies to be partners, but it was time to actually start building the site. We're from Central Ohio, and here in Ohio we have some unbelievable government programs, state programs that help you raise money, as you guys are probably well aware, from the technology tax credit. to some other ventures. So we went out and qualified for those. And it's been since June of last year, and it's been probably 75 to 95% of what I do is raise funds.
What's that process been like?
It's challenging, right? You're asking individual angel investors, or at least we are at this point, to make substantial investments into a dream to some extent. Early on, the kind of joke we used to say is we were just two dogs in a truck. We didn't have a website. We had partners. We had plans. We had some visions we could talk about, but we really didn't even have anything tangible we could show them as far as a working product at that point. So we found some people who really trusted and believed in us. We recruited an outstanding board of advisors.
How does that process work? I don't mean to cut you off, but
No.
that's probably going to be really interesting to our viewers and readers. Is being someone. I mean, you've obviously, everybody has their own network of people that they know or that they've been in business with. But what if you're brand new? What if you're getting your first startup? How did you go about getting those first connections?
Great question. So we have 7 board of advisors. Counting myself would make 8. Prior to starting this venture, or prior to 2008, we'll even say, I knew one of them. That's it. So that was the only person I'd ever met, and that was a friend of mine who's a fairly significant executive here in town that we've done business together and become friends. And I went to him with the idea. He was very interested in helping push the idea because he believed in it, believed in the marketability and the opportunity there. So he helped me start to recruit other people. So as I recruited other board of advisors, his name's Jim. Jim would make the introduction. We would sit down and meet. They would become engaged, and then we would use their networks. So it was almost that first, second, and third degree of separation that we would use. I went out and recruited Dr. Campbell, who I mentioned earlier. But it was really having the one person who I could start with, who then believed in it and introduced me to the others. And some of those board members have then gone out and recruit other board members. We were fairly strategic about our advisory board. So each person on our advisory board has a different core competency that they bring to the table. So as our advisory board went from 2 to 3 to 4, we could say we would need a marketing executive. Who knows a marketing executive? And they would introduce us to a person who's a marketing executive. Here in town, it's a person named Nancy Kramer, who runs Resource Interactive, which is an international interactive marketing firm who's been outstanding and a huge help. But it was those kind of things. So I didn't know Nancy, Jim didn't know Nancy, but Jim helped me recruit another board member who knew Nancy. So you just have to kind of work through your networks and your extended networks.
Yeah, so you see, how quickly networking pays off.
It's everything. It really is. It's for us, at least for us, it's been everything. It's how we built the company. It's how we've raised our funds. Of the 22 investors we have, I knew 3 of them prior to 2009. They've all just been people who've been introduced through our board.